most with the most. I do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast in the command center, in the car review of From Season 4, Episode 4, Myth and Monsters. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend, family, as well as a follower. Let's get into this. Let's tackle this, okay? So, episode from the TV show From Season 4, Episode 4, is titled Of Myth and Monsters. It airs on MG Plus in the US on Sunday, May the 10th, 2026. It features Boyd team on high alert after discovering Julie's trying to control her new powers, Sarah being tormented by voices. The episode is written by John Griffin. Christy Landon continues the series to focus and uncover the town's secret with hints of the past residents being monsters. Julie discovered she is a story walker, which, with all accounts, Julie discovered that last season. Okay, so title's called Of Myth and Monsters. The key plot points for this season: uh a creature are revealed to be cursed and distant of former town folks. Julie discovered her story walking ability and the ability to influence the past through time jumps. The season episode Myth and Monsters and the town's past through hidden messages and things of that nature. So let's talk about it, shall we? Let's talk about it. All right, we got all that stuff on out of the way. Let's get into what we came here for. This is my thoughts. This is my opinion. This is my review before the episode transpire for us to check out Sunday night. Okay, I feel like Boyd, and I got my notes right here. Let me go back to my notes. I don't know why I did that. I had my notes on the on the tablet, and then I just got rid of the notes. Okay, so let's talk about it. Okay, let's start off by Boyd. I think and if you checked out my live stream a couple of days ago, I was telling you guys that Boyd was he wasn't feeling it. Boyd felt like uh from season 2 to 3, Boyd has been the most optimistic person uh out of all the residents from. He always has this belief that sooner rather than later they're going to figure out a way to get out of this town and go on with their lives. And he's been the most optimistic person uh from. And I felt like closer to the end of season 3, he started doubting that. Boyd started doubting maybe things are the way they are, that they're never going to find a way out of there. Now, I do feel like Boyd, Boyd thought that they found a way to kill the creatures at night, particularly the smiley face, is by through his blood. And I felt like Boyd felt like, okay, we can utilize that as a weapon. And if these creatures can be killed, therefore, we should be able to find a way to get home, because they was on the eve or on the cusp of what happened to this town. Thanks for the thumbs up. What happened to this town? Why they're being haunted by so many different residents of the town and the children, and all this was going full blown ahead, and they was getting to the truth. And with that information, as well as now they got a weapon to utilize. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Okay, so Boyd thinking, okay, we got a weapon to kill the creatures. We also we're getting closer to a way of getting out. And I felt like at the closer to the end of season 3, Boyd was coming to the realization, like, you know, I thought we was on the cusp of killing the creatures. Now I see the smiley face um reborn again. You know, and now these children come to find out that we thought we was coming to a cusp. Yeah, I'm good, Dave. And now these kids, Miranda and the other guy, these kids are really for you. You guys have been through time, coming back to this conclusion, and now things are not what we thought they was going to be. Now, the man in yellow who said this in, I believe it was season 2, he said knowledge comes at a cost. All right, and unfortunately, Jim died, and that was, they got all this knowledge, and now they're going to be penalized for this knowledge because Jim died. The man in yellow killed him. Okay, which, the first episode, no one came to that conclusion that Jim is dead until season episode 3. So now during episode 1 and episode 2, Boyd was doubting himself. He was like, you know, I thought we had everything understood. I thought we was, going. I thought we was going to someplace good. Come to find out, man, all that stuff that we worked hard in season 2, we got us to see all the stuff that we did in season 2, got us to season 3, and now at the end of season 3, on to the beginning of season 4, all the stuff that we done collected is for what? For nothing. So Boyd started doubting himself. Now, episode 3, he's starting to be rejuvenated by a lot of things that have transpired uh, through the last episode. Okay, Acosta, he got Acosta to do some busy work to investigate the former town members. And Boyd came to the conclusion, like, wait a minute, for us to figure out how to get out of this town, we need to figure out what happened to the other town folks. Now, Boyd was on that journey, like at the end of season 1 to season 2, but I do felt like Boyd was, uh, saying to himself, well, maybe knowing the town's past isn't going to get us any closer of getting out of here. So now let's just figure out other ways to get out of the town. Because they had a whole lot of people seem to forget in season 2 and season 3 was introduced a lot of theories, and they was testing a lot of these theories. So they was all over the place. So now Boyd has homed in and said, wait a minute, in order for us to figure out how to get out of this town, we need to figure out the previous town folks. What happened to them? Why they no longer here? So that we need to figure out the who, what's, what, when, where, why about the other townsfolk. And when we get more familiar about what happened to them, then we can get a better understanding on what situation we find ourselves in. And the man in yellow, he transformed into this church girl. So she's among the town folks, starting chaos. She's an agent of chaos. Got Julie upset at her because of some she tried to make it sound like Julie and her family are the reasons why the town folks are, dealing with all of this turmoil and all of this killing. Because, basically it make it sound like, nobody wasn't dying. We was living in status quo until your family got here. Okay, which she misinterpreted. Yeah, Dave, I'm good. Good, Dave. So that's what's going on in season. I do feel like season 4 is going to introduce several things. And one of the things I want to talk about is hold up. And I had it right here. I think the man in yellow is going to work his worst magic on Sarah, because Sarah, people seem to forget, in season 1, Sarah was hearing these voices. Now we can make a connection that the man in yellow was the one that was putting voices in Sarah's head to make her do deceivious things to the town folks, because the man in yellow, when he was in her head, was in her when Sarah's head, he was telling her, "Hey, how you doing, Angel?" um he was telling well, the man in yellow was telling her, "Hey, if you kill this person, then if you kill Boyd, I'm going to allow y'all to be free from this town." And she had this belief that that was going to happen. Not Boyd, Julie's brother. If you kill him, then I'm gonna let y'all be free. Y'all can go back to y'all natural lives. And she believed that stuff. And that's the mysterious thing about the town. We thought it was the town giving out these voices. Then we started thinking that maybe it's the night creatures that are doing that. No, it's the man in yellow. The man in yellow is controlling all the strings. So the man in yellow is telling this to Julie. Let me make sure. Yeah, okay. Um telling telling all this weird stuff to Julie. Now Julie hadn't heard no voices since then, since her brother died. She accidentally killed her brother. Okay, because she was trying to kill the little boy, and her brother got in the way. She accidentally stabbed her brother. Okay, and you know now she doesn't hear those voices because the man in yellow can't utilize her no more, because everyone is arm's length from Julie. So so the man in yellow transformed into this church girl, and the church girl, they were trying to find a place where the church girl can live, because they believe that the priest that died, that's her daughter. It's not her daughter. Okay, he picked her up along the way. She put a spell on him. He went unconscious and ran the car into one of the buildings, and he never got up from that. And the man in yellow just finished the job by killing the priest at the clinic. Okay, so um, now everyone is believing that this church girl is an innocent bystander. She just lost her father. She's grieving, and they're going to utilize this excuse of, well, she's grieving. She don't know any better. She just got into this town, and she's just trying to put pieces together. And she may said something that's offensive, but she doesn't know what she's actually saying. Okay, so they're going to use that excuse for her. Now, she chose to live with Julie so she can get closer to not Julie, Sarah, so she can get close to Sarah, so she could infiltrate Sarah. The man in yellow feels like, yo, if I can put the voices back in her head, she can be under my bidding, be under my spell. But here's my thing. You did that without even being close to Julie. So how come you can't do that? Why you have to live with her to put voices in her head? So I'm thinking, and a lot of people are not. So I'm thinking the man in yellow have been doing this to these group of people forever. He has always infiltrated this way. It's just we found out about it during during this episode. But what if the man in yellow has always um transformed into different strangers and infiltrated the town and got close to people and put voices in their head, you know. So if this is the way how he put voices in people's heads, that he has to get close to them, it makes you wonder that, okay, if you're doing this to Sarah, then you have done this to other people that have voices in their head. Eliza, you probably put voices in his head to believe that if he kidnaps Phantoma, and if Phantoma has the baby, then therefore the baby once the baby is born, you give them this false hope of everything's gonna be fine. Y'all return back to your homes. Okay, that's one theory that I'm coming up with. Or maybe there are other monsters that is doing this same type of deal. Maybe there's more than just the man in yellow out there in the forest that has this ability. Maybe it's the town. We're not sure. Okay. So um she's gonna be roommates with Sarah, and she's gonna be playing mind tricks for Sarah. Now, um I keep forgetting his name, and he found mushrooms on season 3. I mean episode 3. And I want to talk about this real fast and real quick. Um, I want to talk about um episode 3. And this is what I want to get to. All right. Um, hold up. No. Give me a second, y'all. From season 4, episode 3. And this is what I want to get at. Okay. So on episode 3, Boyd tries to save Acosta from herself. Julia digs deeper into her newfound abilities. Tabitha embarks on a gamble. Victor joins Ethan in the quest for answers. Okay. Um, and this is why I feel like this episode is so important. Okay. And I'm gonna tell y'all why this episode is so important. If you give me a real second here, if you give me a second here, it's called Mary We Go. It shows place, the season explores the aftermath of Jim's death, key events, Boy struggles with his past relationship with Acosta, Jade. So this is why I feel like this is important. So y'all remember in episode 3, Jade was on a search to find answers. He was with Ethan, I mean Victor, and I forgot the mother, looking for her son, and her son was talking to uh his father. So when they finally found him, Jim looked down. I mean, Jade looked down and he saw mushrooms. And, in the beginning of that episode, he was asking Boyd, do we have acid, something that can get him high? Because he feel like if he gets high, he can he feel like he has the answers locked in his head. Unfortunately, he can't get to those answers, and he feels like getting high or doing drugs, he can get closer to the answers. Boyd thought he was cray cray, but whatever. Well, anyway, at the end of that episode, he saw some mushrooms. Don't you think it's kind of odd and ironic that the things that you want, you end up finding them? You dig what I'm saying? So is that the town that sent them to that part of the forest where the mushrooms grown? Is that the man in yellow? I don't believe it's, or is there other powers that's in this forest that either the man in yellow is not aware of or is aware of, that have other interests for these town folks? And we're not going to figure none of this stuff out until we get closer to the end of the season, and then we have to wait I had to wait 6 to 8 months for season 5. Season 5 is greenlit. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do appreciate that. I do feel like I'm cool. Okay, really do appreciate it. Hey, how you doing? So, um, basically, he finds these mushrooms, and when they did a recap for episode 4, obviously he took Jay took the mushrooms. Now, uh, one of the town folks told him, like, once you get, just because you get high That doesn't mean, hey, how you doing, Lily? That doesn't mean you're going to come back to normal. You may not ever come back, but that's the risk Jade is willing to take to find the answers. So, uh, does we don't know if Jade gets high, if he's going to find answers or he's just going to hallucinate. All right, we don't know that Jade may hallucinate something, think it's the answers, but in actuality, it's not the answer. It's just him being high. Or we don't know if the man in yellow is going to infiltrate him being high, or other powers that be in this town that's going to infiltrate his high. But anyway, he feels like he can find answers by getting high. And it starts the premiere of episode 4 of him walking all spaced out. Boyd was behind him, and now he's high. He's like Craig and Day Day. It's Friday and I'm going to get high today. So, Boyd got high. All right. He got high. How high? To the Boyd is so high, he's looking down in the sky and he knows exactly where he used to live at when he was a kid. Okay. Boyd is high. All right. So, they focus about that. They also focus about Sarah's situation, and they also focus on Julie's story walking ability. Okay. And all that is going to come to a head for episode 4. I do feel like in episode 4, Jade is going to find out, uh, uh going to find out um some form of the truth. And he's going to have to dissect what is true, what is not true. Now, the funny thing about this is, and I believe this was last season. Yeah, it was last season. Jade started hallucinating, seeing these kids, which he wasn't hallucinating. These kids do exist. He also saw the boy in white, and they were kind of warning. The boy in white was warning him. Okay. Honestly, I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm talking about the television show From. If y'all haven't seen From, go subscribe on MGM Plus. I'm pretty sure if you go to Amazon, they got a deal to watch MGM Plus. The last time I went to Amazon, MGM Plus was basically you get 2 months. You get 2 months for the price of one, and they also have bundle packages with AMG Plus, and I forgot the other streaming service. If you go over there, you can get a good deal. Okay, I suggest just going to Amazon with your Prime deal. If you got Prime, you can get MGM Plus on the cheap. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so um when this show is premiered, when it premieres tonight, well, Sunday morning, here what I feel like is going to actually transpire and actually happen. Jade is going to get high and he's going to see um the stuff that has been the stuff that's been unlocked in the back of his head. He's going to get the access that he needs, but he also going to hallucinate other things. So Jade is going to have to figure out what's useful, what's not useful as he's on his high journey. And I do feel like this episode is going to leave us on a cliffhanger because Jade is still going to be high and he's going to get all these answers, but unfortunately Jade is either going to be comatose, or when he comes off, where he's never going to come back from his high, and he's just going to be comatose, where he can't say anything, but he knows the answers, but he can't relay none of the answers to to Boyd or to anybody. So he's going to be that type of high, where he's never going to come out of his high, or when he do come off his high, he's going to see things that are useful and things from him being high, and it's going to prolong him to getting to the truth because he's got to find the answer. He don't know what's real, what's not, so he's going to have to go through these things and dissect these things and say, okay, this isn't useful, this is useful. So it's going to go either one or two ways for Jade. Okay. When it comes to Sarah, Sarah's going to get the voices back in her head, but at the end of the episode, she's going to come to the realization like, wait a minute, I wasn't getting none of these voices in my head until I told this chick that she could be my roommate, and then she's going to slowly but surely start making the connection that maybe this church girl is not the person, either she not the person who she is, or she's an evil person. So she's going to make the connection. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit too late because it's going to be at the end of this episode, and we won't know until next week what Sarah planning on doing with this church girl. She's going to find out her true motives and true intentions, or get close to the true motives or the true intentions. Okay. Um, when it comes to Boyd is still going to um no, I'm sorry. When it comes to Sarah, she's going to story walk, and she's going to see the man in yellow, and she's going to find out why Victor is so scared of the man in yellow, because she gets to witness it for herself. The man in yellow just devouring and eating these town folks, and she's going to find out how truly evil the man in yellow is. And she's going to see witness it for herself. Now, I do feel like she's going to be able to come out of her sleep, her story walking state. They're going to drag her back, and she's going to tell them things about the man in yellow. So she's going to be on high alert that the man in yellow is an evil person. But the thing about it is, she's going to know how evil the man in yellow is. Sarah is going to try to put two and two together and figure out this girl isn't what she claims she is, but they're not going to make the connection that these two things, these two different uh informations are connected, and they need to connect them together. And I do feel like Jade is going to find something from his trip phase that can make this connection. But unfortunately, I do feel like episode 4, none of these connections, they're going to get different variations of these informations, but they're not going to have the theory of connecting them all together. And I do feel like in episode 5 or episode 6, Acosta, as far as her being a detective, she's going to connect the dot with the former town folks by going through their clothing and their possessions, and she's going to have a piece of the puzzle that connects all three of these things together. But unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit too late. Is it going to be a little bit too late where someone dies? Is it going to be a little bit too late if the man in yellow does what he did with the last town folk, and kills Boyd and the town folks over there, or kills half of them? I don't know. All right. Um, but I do feel like by Boyd making Acosta do this, it's busy work. It keeps her mind off of trying to, delete herself. Because remember, in episode 3, she asked Boyd for one bullet because she wanted to just end it. She didn't feel useful here. She didn't want to be here. So instead of Boyd respecting her wishes, Boyd said, "You know what? I'm gonna give you a quest on finding out what's a goings on by you going down to the storage thing and putting all the clothing and all the other stuff together. Maybe that busy work will be very useful." And like Boyd said in episode 3, this may be very useful. This may be a waste of time for you, but we won't know. Okay. So yeah, that's what I got. What's going to transpire in episode 4, season 4 from. I think it's going to go down that way. And at the end of the episode, they're going to get all these pieces, but they're not going to make a connection until Acosta comes with the piece that connects them all together. You know, but we'll have to wait and find out. So, guys, that's all I got. I'll see you guys after the show, after episode 4 premieres, we'll talk about it sometime next week. We'll talk together how it transpired, and I'll see you guys. All right. So I'm up out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.